It's a good job that no one's looking too closely at the clothes that I make. Hello there beautiful people, and welcome back to Upcycled Only, where I take clothes I have found in second-hand shops and breathe new life into them so they look a little more like what you would find on fast fashion websites, but without the moral and ethical issues. Today we have a very, very large shirt with a lot of material to play with, which is great. A lovely blue gingham, 100% cotton, pretty regular men's shirt. Haven't quite yet decided what I'm going to do with it, but I have done an abundance of research on YouTube. Alright, enough flapping around, let's get down to business. So in any case, I'm probably going to need to chop it in half because that's what I do. I cut things in half. Or I could make it into a dress. That's actually not a bad idea because in summertime, people wear dresses. I'm going to make this into an off-the-shoulder jobby. I think that's going to look really nice. Honestly, making that into a dress is going to be super easy. And if I tailor it to myself, it's going to go round all my wonkiness. Oh, my wonkiness. Do excuse the French, it's not quite dry yet. I wanted to mention that that is actually why I started upcycling things. It wasn't just because I had an issue with the ethics and the morals of fast fashion and it polluting the world and exploiting people in third world countries. It's also because nothing that is made for fast fashion websites fits my body because I have scoliosis and I look a bit weird. I will pop up a x-ray of my spine. See, all you lovely people with straight spines, you don't know the struggle. It's great. I love it. I hate it actually, that's why I don't buy clothes. It's just easier to make clothes that actually fit me. So when I upcycle this, I'm going to change bits and it's going to not be even and symmetrical because I'm not even and symmetrical in my own special way. Also, the other reason that I've decided I think I'm going to make a dress is because I used to have a dress. It was with spaghetti straps, but still, it was a really lovely dress. For some bizarre reason, I threw it away. Well, I didn't throw it away, but I gave it away to a charity shop. And I regret that decision, so I'm going to make a dress that makes me happy. Like this dress used to make me happy. This dress used to spark joy and I don't know why I gave it away. Probably because I was sick of moving all of my stuff from city to city to city, from apartment to apartment to apartment, because in the last 4 years, this is the 8th place that I've had to move my stuff to, which doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but it is to me. I got rid of most of my stuff in Vienna when I moved to Berlin. I'm gonna make this dress into a dress that sparks joy. All right, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this collar, like that. Next thing I'm going to do is take off all of these buttons because they're going to be a nightmare to sew, and then I'm going to sew a basting stitch down here because it's going to make my life a lot easier. I'm probably going to end up undoing that stitch and I will put the buttons back on because they're cute, but it's going to make my life a lot easier in sewing stuff if I don't have two separate flat going everywhere. I also realised, because I'm a massive twat, that once I'd taken off the buttons, that I didn't actually have anything to line up and where to sew down. Luckily, this is gingham, and there are lots of lines on it, so I'm just lining things up and hoping that they work out. Mistake one of many, probably. Delightful. All sewn up, but it does have a pocket. It's just very well blended into the material. I'm gonna take that off. Yeah, I'm gonna take that off right now. Pocket removed. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is chop off just below the collar so as to make the most of all the material that I have right along here. Oh. That would have been so good if that had actually moved. Let me just release that. All right. This is a metaphor for my life right now. we go. Now I just need to put quite a lot of elastic around there. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with these sleeves. Yes, I'm fully aware of how ridiculous this looks, but I needed to wear this because I was planning to make the top half look like this and then go out into a little like A-line dress thing, but this is the wrong material for that because this is cotton and it's quite stiff, and that would need some sort of viscose material because it would need to hang nicely. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make like a boob tube thing, put some elastic up here to keep it up, and then out of the sleeves I'm gonna make little, kind of like this actually, sleeves, put some elastic around that so it's like a little off the shoulder thing. And then this, I haven't yet decided whether I'll let it just hang like it is so it's quite loose or whether I will tailor it. Tailoring it is going to be an effort because I'm very, very wonky. So the first thing I'm going to do in order to achieve this boob tube sort of off the shoulder thing is take off the sleeves. Ta-da! So it seems I've been a massive fool and I didn't record myself explaining what I was going to do with the sleeves. Basically, I'm going to use the cuff detail at the bottom of the sleeve and then add a tunnel at the top of the sleeve through which I can pass some elastic so it fits snugly and gathered around the top of my arm. Nice and easy, we hope. Now that I said I think it's going to be easy, watch me make so many mistakes and watch it be really, really hard. In order to get the most out of the material, I lined up either armhole on right and left, and then I sewed down the side. Following the line of gingham makes sewing in a straight line much easier. Look how joyful it is for me to sew along this white line, this built-in line for me to sew along so I can actually sew in a straight line for once in my life. So I sewed down the sides and now I have a big tube. I'm gonna put this on. Well, this is a look. It happens all the time. I messed up again. I sewed a big tube and what I really should have done was add it because I was like, oh, I can't actually move in this. So all I need to do is now add in elastic around the top. That resembles a dress. Fabulous. Delightful. It kind of makes me look like a sack. However, it's a start. Here we have a sleeve. I'm going to cut the said sleeve here. I'm also going to sew down here because there's a little hole here. I don't need this little hole. I'm going to sew up that hole and then I'm going to do exactly the same as I did to the dress. I am going to fold this down. Ooh, probably need a little bit more seam allowance for that actually if I'm going to make it a thick band. I'm going to cut it here and not here. Glad I realised that in time. And then sew a band into it and then it will go on my arms. And then, very simply, I'll be able to sew this here and then stick my arms through. And then I just need to figure out how not to make it look like a sack. Okay, so I did that thing where I put elastic in there, little tunnel thingy, and then I safety pinned it because commitment issues. I definitely need to sort out the shape of this dress. I might put a waistband in, that might be quite nice. I'm gonna do this onto the side as well, and then we're gonna attach it, and then we're gonna battle the tailoring of this dress because it looks like a sack, and I don't like sacks. Okay, so I made an error and I didn't cut both of the sleeves before I sewed one, so now I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to make this again. Thing is this sleeve is actually like that, and I don't know how to like cut it. So it's yeah, so I'm gonna bunch it up, cut it like here so that it has room to like fold over, and then I've got to put the elastic in, but that was an error on my part. I just get too excited. Okay, somehow I managed to cut a little bit more off and I put them side by side and I folded this over, pinned that down there, and I'm going to go around the rest of it, pinning it in place, and I'm going to sew it down, put another piece of elastic in, and hopefully then I'll have two sleeves. There be two sleeves! All I need to do is attach them to my dress. Yes! Not mad at them at all. Love the sleeve design. Super glad I thought of that and got that in. Yeah, safety pinned. Not even sorry about it. Okay, what I'm going to do is sew elastic into it. But I have to be very, very careful with where I sew it, because if I sew it too low, it's gonna go too baggy. I'm gonna sew it on the inside, so it just cinches in from the inside, so it's gonna be this exact thing, but on the inside. I'm not gonna sew a channel or anything, I just need it to be cinched in. So I'm gonna turn it inside out and then pin it in where I want it to go on what level. And the joy of working with gingham is that I can just pin it along one line and it'll stay on that line. Maybe the other problem is that it's too long. That may be the other problem. So in order to sew an elastic waistband into a garment that is not elastic, you have to stretch it. So that is what I did. I stretched the elastic and then put it through my sewing machine very gently, very carefully. The funny thing about following straight lines is that you don't really need to do that if your spine isn't in a straight line anyway and the ribs stick out to one side, and it's not gonna be like on the same route on the way around anyway. It's gonna need to like dip a little bit further down to go around your ribs. So that wasn't gonna be a plus point anyway. Actually, I would say that works. It's too long. It's too long. I don't know where I'm gonna cut it, but maybe I cut it to here. I feel like that will work. And then I don't need to add any extra material into it because I'll be able to move enough. That works. Joy. These need to be attached, not with safety pins, and then that needs to be cut and hemmed. And buttons need to be sewn back on. Oh, delighted that that's worked. Just had the genius idea that I'm just gonna make a ton of scrunchies out of that, because honestly, to go with this dress, scrunchies are gonna be so cute. Oh, I'm excited about that now. The first thing I need to do is actually finish this because I'm annoying myself. So I've also just remembered, why am I so British, that I thought that I was going to be unstitching this button placket and making it into a thing that I was just going to slide on. But then I decided, okay, no, yes, that was a good idea. All of the crises. So it's only basted. Am I going to unpick it and redo it with a tighter stitch? No. I'm just gonna pretend like it's not an issue and move on. Story of my life. Now that the bottom is hemmed and looks super sexy, if I do say so myself, now all I need to do is sew on the sleeves. I have put a safety pin where I need it to be sewn. I'm just gonna sew there. It's gonna be super easy. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. And then I just need to sew all of the buttons back on. That's not too much hand sewing for me to cope with, that's all. And then we'll just spend as long as we possibly can with my machine. Well, that took way too much time for me to get around to actually doing that because that was so easy, but there we go. Sleeves and main body joined together. Delightful. Now, let's hand sew for an indeterminate amount of time. So there are many things in life that I don't enjoy. Casual racism, being too cold, also being too hot. Wow, I sound British. Failing at things. Not having a job. When the chain falls off of my bike and I have to stop and put it back on. But nothing quite pisses me off as much as having to hand sew, which is why I was just about to sew on another button just here, and I thought, what is that really hard thing? That's what she said. Underneath here, and it was a button that I had forgotten to take off. So that's a button that I don't need to sew on. Delighted. Now I have to get back to sewing on the other 3 buttons. Well, that was a highly traumatic experience, but I have in fact finished sewing on all of the buttons, which means that this item of clothing is now complete. Here's what it looks like on my body.